What if I told you that the most powerful event in all of human history happened in a borrowed tomb on a quiet Sunday morning, with no cameras, no crowds, and no fanfare? A man who was publicly executed, sealed behind a 2-ton stone, guarded by Roman soldiers, walked out alive. A legend, not a myth, not a fairy tale, is Easter. And by the end of this video, you will never see it the same way again. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome. We tell stories that matter, stories that move you, stories that change you. Hit that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss one. Now, let's go back 2,000 years. It was Passover in Jerusalem. The city was packed with pilgrims from across the known world, all gathering to remember the night God delivered the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. On this particular Thursday evening, a small group of men climbed the stairs of a simple upper room, 13 of them. A teacher and his 12 closest followers. Jesus of Nazareth took his place at the head of the table. He looked around the room at the men he had walked with, laughed with, taught, and loved for 3 years, and he knew this was the last time they would all sit together like this. Took the bread, gave thanks, broke it, and said words that would echo through eternity. "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Then he lifted the cup of wine. "This cup is the new covenant in my blood poured out for you." The disciples didn't fully understand what he meant. Not yet, but they would. Then Jesus said something that shattered the mood at the table. "One of you will betray me." After supper, Jesus led his disciples out of the city, across the Kidron Valley, and into a garden called Gethsemane, a grove of ancient olive trees on the Mount of Olives. Asked most of them to wait. He took only Peter, James, and John deeper into the garden. Then, in one of the most raw human moments in all of Scripture, Jesus fell to the ground and prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." Think about that for a moment. Jesus, knowing everything that was about to happen, asked if there was another way. The weight of what was coming was so immense that the Bible tells us his sweat fell to the ground like drops of blood. Then he said 4 words that changed everything. "Not my will, but yours." Went back to check on his disciples. They were asleep. 3 times he prayed. 3 times he returned to find them sleeping. Then torches flickered through the trees, the sound of soldiers, and at the front of the crowd, Judas. Judas walked up to Jesus and greeted him with a kiss, the prearranged signal to the soldiers. "Friend," Jesus said, he still called him friend, "do what you came to do." They seized him. The disciples fled into the darkness. What followed was one of the greatest miscarriages of justice the world has ever seen. The middle of the night, Jesus was dragged before the Jewish high priest Caiaphas and a hastily assembled religious council. They needed a charge. They needed a reason to put him to death. Witnesses were brought in, but their testimonies contradicted each other. Finally, Caiaphas stood up and asked Jesus directly, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" And Jesus said, "I am. And you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power, coming on the clouds of heaven." That was all they needed. "Blasphemy," they cried, "he must die." They couldn't execute him themselves. That required Roman authority. So at dawn they brought Jesus before Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate questioned him. He found no fault in him. His own wife sent him a message, "Have nothing to do with this innocent man." But the crowd was relentless. They chanted. They demanded. In a moment of cowardice dressed up as politics, Pilate washed his hands in a basin of water and handed Jesus over to be crucified. The soldiers took him. They beat him. They twisted thorns into a crown and pressed it onto his head. They mocked him, spat on him, and draped a scarlet robe over his torn shoulders. "Hail, King of the Jews," they jeered. Did not fight back. He did not call down judgment. He simply endured. They made him carry his own cross through the streets of Jerusalem, a walk known today as the Via Dolorosa, the way of suffering. The crowd lined the streets. Some wept, some jeered, some simply watched. When they reached Golgotha, the place of the skull, they nailed him to the cross. Even there, even in that moment of unimaginable pain, Jesus looked down at the soldiers gambling for his clothing and said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing." For 6 hours he hung there. The sky grew dark in the middle of the afternoon, an unnatural, eerie darkness that covered the land. At the 9th hour, 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken?" was quoting Psalm 22, a prophecy written 1,000 years before this moment. Every person within earshot who knew their scripture would have recognized it. Then he said, "It is finished." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. At that exact moment, the massive curtain inside the temple, the curtain that separated ordinary people from the Holy of Holies, the presence of God tore in two. From top to bottom, the earth shook, rocks split. The Roman soldier standing at the foot of the cross looked up and said, "Surely, this man was the Son of God." A man named Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy member of the religious council who had secretly believed in Jesus, went to Pilate and asked for the body. And another man, Nicodemus, carefully took Jesus down from the cross. They wrapped him in linen cloths with expensive spices, 75 pounds of myrrh and aloe, and laid him in a new tomb carved out of rock in a nearby garden. Great stone was rolled across the entrance. Religious leaders remembered that Jesus had said he would rise in 3 days. Worried his followers might steal the body and claim a resurrection, they went to Pilate and asked for a guard. Pilate gave them soldiers. The tomb was officially sealed with the Roman seal. Breaking it was punishable by death. It was over, or so everyone thought. I want to pause here for just a second and ask you something. Drop it in the comments right now. When you think of Easter, what's the first word that comes to your mind? Is it hope? Is it family? Is it faith? Maybe it's something you're still figuring out. Whatever it is, type it below. I read every single comment. Now back to Sunday morning. 3 days later, Sunday. Just before dawn, Mary Magdalene and several other women made their way to the tomb. They were bringing more spices to finish the burial preparation. Their hearts were broken. Their hope was gone. They were worried about one thing: who would roll the stone away for them. But when they arrived, the stone was already moved. Mary Magdalene ran. She ran back to tell Peter and John. "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb," she cried, "and we don't know where they have put him." Peter and John sprinted to the tomb. John arrived first, looked in, and saw the linen burial cloths lying there. Peter pushed past him and went inside. The cloths were there. The face covering was neatly folded and set aside. But the body was gone. Meanwhile, Mary stood outside the tomb weeping. She looked in and saw 2 angels in white sitting where Jesus' body had been. "Woman, why are you crying?" they asked. Turned around and saw a man standing there. Through her tears, she thought he was the gardener. "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you put him and I will get him." And then he said one word. Mary, she knew that voice, turned and cried out, "Rabboni," which means teacher, was alive, a ghost. Not a vision. The disciples touched him. They ate with him. Over the next 40 days, the Bible records that he appeared to more than 500 people. The tomb was empty, and nothing in the world would ever be the same. So why does this matter? Why, 2,000 years later, are we still talking about this? Because Easter isn't just a story about one man defeating death. It's a story about what that means for every single one of us. The cross was not a tragedy that God was forced to work with. It was a plan authored before the foundations of the world to deal once and for all with the thing that separates us from God, our sin, our failures, our shame. Jesus didn't die because he had to. He died because he chose to. For you, for me, for every person who has ever lived. The resurrection is the proof, the universe's greatest receipt that the payment was accepted, that death had been defeated, that there is now a way back to God. The curtain tore. The door is open. That's what Easter means. It means no matter what you've done, no matter how far you've wandered, no matter how broken you feel, there is a tomb that is empty and a God who is alive and a love that is stronger than death is not here. He has risen just as he said. If this video moved you, if it meant something to you today, I want to ask you to do 3 small things. First, hit that like button. It takes 1 second and it helps more people find this story. Second, subscribe if you haven't already. Every week we bring you stories of faith, history, and meaning that you won't find anywhere else. Third, share this video. Send it to someone who needs to hear it today. A friend, a family member, someone who's going through a hard season. This story was made for them. Thank you so much for watching. Whatever brought you here today, I believe it wasn't an accident. He is risen. He is risen indeed.